Hello, Rob here. In this video, I'm going to unbox the Dark Venture 2nd edition pre-production sample. So here's the box, similar to the original 1st edition, except that it says 2nd edition, has another different serial number here. So let's get started. Okay, let me get this plastic off, it's tough. Go, plastic off. So you'll see that it has, not sure how you can see, if you can see, but there is a really nice texture on there. It is a matte finish, so it's not glossy and shiny, which I love. Here is the box. So first of all, we have a quest point track that goes to 30. So in previous editions, there was another side to this that had a 20-point track and a 10-point track on the back, but I feel like, you know, and just kind of based on the updated rules, you can just use this track. And in a solo game, you can play up to a certain number, and in a multiplayer game, you can play up to a certain number of your choice. That's all in the updated rules. Okay, and here is, next up is the deck mat. It's pretty cool. This is where you put your locations, characters, and item decks to draw from in the game. Okay, we have a day track, which, you know, a full game takes place in 10 rounds. You can have a shorter game that ends in 6 rounds. In the 6th round of all games, you will draw a new heroic quest. There's an event here. It's a, you know, there's a warlock symbol there, which represents that there's a kind of, whether it's an incantation or whether it's some kind of worldwide temporal event. This is kind of, you know, it's based on the fact that the warlocks kind of are possibly in control of this event, or maybe not. But anyway, that icon is a reminder that you would draw up a heroic quest on the 6th round. Next up, we have a setup reference card. So this is kind of a quick reference to just get set up and play and start playing quickly. Gives you a few little rule references there. We have hero dashboards. So there are 4 hero dashboards in the game. They have room for your actions, 3 actions per turn in 3 and 4 player games, and or in solo and 2 player games, and 3 actions in 3 or 4 player games, and 2 actions in 3 or 4 player games, 3 actions in solo and 2 player games. Next up, we have a whole lot of standees. There's a bunch of 6 heroes, the first 6 heroes, a couple other additional heroes. And we have some more standees and some health tokens and a lot of character tokens. So kind of, as I've said in some of the videos where I was describing the components of the expansions, every character comes with a standee and 2 tokens. The heroes have 2 tokens. Every character has 1 token, 1 standee. Heroes have 2 tokens and 1 standee. And this, it's so that if you'd like to use a standee in the game, you can. If you'd like to use a token in the game for that character to when they appear on the map, you can. There are 2 for heroes in case you'd like to use the token on the map for the hero, and then the other token goes on to the tracks your quest points. So you need 2 for each hero. So yeah, so there we go. There's more tokens. There's armor tokens and attack tokens. A lot of health tracking tokens, search tokens. These are token pairs, item token pairs, so that if you drop an item in a location, you can mark it, put one token in the location and the other token on the cards that are in that location. There are other uses for them too. Here are the Ancients. So these are hex cards, large hex cards, and you can choose to play with them in your game. And if you do, you start with the card face down, and as you win his favor, have 4 characters in different factions in play on the map. If that happens in your game, then you flip the card, and it gives you a divine power for that ancient. So it's a special ability that can sometimes be somewhat game breaking, but they're pretty fun to use in your game. Next up, we have the follower dashboards. So these are optional use, but if you do choose to use them, if your hero ever gains a follower, then you can put your follower's card here and track all their abilities and track their attributes and their health and their shield and their attack tokens and their armor token, their armor bonuses, attack bonus and armor bonus. Okay, so next up, getting deep into here, are all the books. So here are the core rules, location guide A, location guide B, actions A, actions B. So when you start a new game, you would choose whether you want to use location and action A or location and action B. And both of them contain, it's almost as if they're on a temporal timeline, different temporal timelines. So A takes place at one time and B takes place at another time, whether that's in the future or the past. It's not really, I think that there are a few clues, but I'm not going to go into that now. And in the location guide, you have, as you enter a location or as you play a location, you read its entry from the location guide, and some entries will then direct you to, if a character enters that location, if a player's character, if a hero or their follower enters that location, then you read a specific entry from the action guide, corresponding action guide. So these are the books, and these have been updated for the 2nd edition. With, additional information. Okay, so here are Standee bases. Here is the Wood Worgen Crawl token, which is included in every 2nd edition game. We have Dark Venture dice, which are kind of an interesting bone color with a dark brown finish. These are really cool dice, I love them. We have these wood tokens for tracking your hero's attributes and followers' attributes, and they're also just useful throughout the game, depending. Some actions will involve you placing a particular colored cube onto a character's card, and that's representative of something else. Won't go into that spoiler territory. Some extra bags. So these are primarily to keep your tokens in. And then we have the cards, and there are a lot of cards here. Ton of cards. And at the very bottom here, we have side quest cards. There's a nice deck of these side quests. So every game you start with a heroic quest, a main quest, and you draw up 3 side quests. And these are kind of like little achievements that unlock quest points in your game. I'm gonna open up this pack if I can. Should be like a nice little, there we go. So in this deck, I know that we have, this is the new Crossroads card, and it is has a specific card back so that it's easier to pull out, and because you start the game, every game with the Crossroads. So these are interesting. I've included these in this printing. These are attribute cards, attribute and character record cards. So these can be used to decrease your table footprint. So instead of using a big hero dashboard, you can use this character record card to track your hero's health and attributes and their attack bonus and armor bonus on these cards. And so it's, you know, you flip the one card over. You can also use these to track any enemies that appear in the game, or your follower. So it's there are a couple different ways to track the attributes of a. You can even just, if there's an enemy that comes into play, you might even just need to track their health. So this is a good health track. And there's, as an alternative, you can use health tokens. So there's a couple different ways, a few different ways to play, depending on what you feel is what speaks to you and how you'd like to play the game. So these are all the heroic quests. So like I said at the beginning of the game, I think you draw 2 and pick 1. And throughout the game, at the 6th round of the game, you draw another one, and there are other events will happen, temporal events, or you know, other events that are actions or in location events that will require you to draw another heroic quest or discard your old heroic quest to draw a new one. So there's that. And then these are, that's a lot of items. Here are some of the locations, building the map. So that. So and that is everything that is in. Oh, you know what? I want to just go over the core rules for a second. I might unpack this. Might as well unpack these cards too while I'm here. So here we have some of the heroes, other characters, enemies, more heroes. Yeah, there's a lot of content in this game, a lot of stuff. Here's some more items, more powerful items. Here we go. And healing. So there are 3 types of items in the game. There are weapons, armor, and objects. Let me see if I can find. There's an object, each having a different icon at the top, and in some cases you'll be required to draw a specific type of card, type of item. So yeah, so that's going through all these items. A lot of items, just to keep things interesting. Yeah, and each, just as a side note, the expansions, for the most part, you know, if you decide some of the larger expansions like Craig Pit and Vile Invaders will add some new rules to the game. But for the most part, if you don't want to deal with that, you can just fold their cards into the different card types in the game. So each includes some locations, some characters, and items, and so you can just shuffle those cards into the Dark Venture core game and not worry about any of the kind of new rules. I think some of them might, you know, in Vile Invaders, I think there's some crafting involved in some of the new items, but you know, it's up to you. whether you want to use those or not, or you know, add those to your game. But for the most part, like in the mini expansions, like the Alderkang and the Beasts and Monsters, you're literally just folding those components into the decks, putting the, you know, the items and the items and the characters and the characters and the locations and the locations, and then they just kind of add more variety to your game. So here's the core rule book for the 2nd edition, and of note here is a section in the back. So the main rules up to kind of about page 22. These are more or less the same. There's the same amount of content here. We've gone through and shortened some of the rules and kind of sort of made things a little easier to understand. One of the big differences in this version of the game is that there are paid actions, free once, then paid actions, and then free actions. And so one of the big changes was the equip, use, pick up, or drop an item is free, and trading is free. So you're not using up your action points in your game, trading and equipping and dropping. And so a lot of these other things, moving still costs an AP, searching costs an AP. You can draw a card. So searching is a little bit different, because draw a card, you can pay an AP just to draw a card, draw an item, a character, or a location card. So you can just spend a whole turn drawing 3 cards. However, searching a location happens once per location, costs an AP, but what you do when you search is you're drawing 3 item cards and choosing one. So it gives you a little more freedom to decide, you know, you're drawing up item cards for an AP in the same way that you would draw a card, except in this case, because you get a roll, it's a little more, there's a little luck to it. But yeah, so the other thing is that there is a frequently asked questions section that's been added to the back. And so this goes into more detail about, you know, how do you set up an enemy? How do you set up a follower? If you want to have this part right here specifically is about if you'd like to decrease the table footprint of your game, how can you just kind of use the cards instead of using even a character record card or a dashboard. So there's some little pointers here that aren't, there's some little tips and tricks in here that aren't required, but will help you play the game a little bit better. Just goes over combat and how combat works, and it's divided into sections of item frequently asked questions, character frequently asked questions, I think combat frequently asked questions, character frequently asked questions, and then I think lastly there's other questions. And so that kind of goes into any more kind of really, you know, just smaller detailed things. Yeah, so that is, let's see what else. There's a couple additional things here at the end. And then another addition is there's a couple appendices here that involve telling you what all the tokens are. And there's faction icons here because, you know, some events and some cards will specifically focus on a particular faction, require you to kill a certain type of character, or like defeat 3 Orpal characters. And so this is just a little reference to let you know the faction icons. And yeah, and on the back of all the manuals is a quick reference. So, you know, you can hand these around the table, and you know, people can all have a little quick reference to understand what to do on their turn. All right, so that is an unboxing of the 2nd edition of Dark Venture. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.